channel. I'm Simran, and on this episode of Hunger Pangs with Simran, I'm going to show you all how to make a really tasty and simple eggless vanilla sponge cake. Now this is one recipe that you all need in your lives, particularly those of you who do not bake with eggs, because there's just so much that we can do with this cake once it's ready. And my most favorite part about it is that the basic sponge needs such simple and few ingredients. So let's get started. So we're gonna need 175 grams of all-purpose flour, half a teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, 280 grams of yogurt. Make sure your yogurt is at room temperature. That's really important since room temperature ingredients emulsify better. 145 grams of caster sugar, 100 ml of vegetable oil, and 2 tablespoons of vanilla essence. So the first thing that we need to do is to set our ovens to preheat at 180 degrees Celsius. You could also use a microwave convection for this recipe. Nothing changes, the recipe remains exactly the same, no additions or subtractions. Just preheat your ovens and get started. Before we move on to our batter, we're going to prepare our cake molds. I'm using an 8-inch round cake ring. You could use a cake tin if you prefer. I'm securing my ring with an aluminium sheet, and then I'm going to brush it with some butter before I leave it aside. Okay, so we're going to start by adding the baking soda and yogurt together. We do this because the alkaline nature of the baking soda reacts with the acidic yogurt, and this gives us a frothy and foamy mixture which helps the cake to be light and fluffy. Next, we need to whisk the caster sugar and vegetable oil together. Now try not to use granulated sugar because that will give you a very grainy result, since the regular sugar granules do not melt while baking, and that's not something that you want. Give this a good whisk and then add in the baking soda and yogurt mixture. Mix this until you get a smooth texture and then add in the vanilla essence. So my batter looks glossy and smooth. The only thing left to do is to combine the flour, baking powder and salt into it. I'm just going to gently fold these in using a spatula. Now remember, you don't want to overmix this at this stage because we don't want all that air to escape, leaving us with a dense cake. So my batter is ready. Now I'm just going to pour this into my prepared cake ring. Don't forget to flatten it out evenly so that it has an even baking time. And then I'm going to bake this in my preheated oven or preheated microwave convection for 35 to 40 minutes until a toothpick inserted comes out clean. Once it's done, take it out and let it cool in the cake tin for at least 15 to 20 minutes before you demold it. So the cake is out and it's ready to be cut into. It has a beautiful golden brown color on the outside. Now I'm just going to sprinkle some powdered sugar on this and then let's check it out from the inside. This is so moist and so super soft. It goes perfectly well with a cup of hot tea, and now I just can't wait to dig into it. Okay everyone, thank you for watching my video. If you like this recipe, don't forget to subscribe, like and share, and also hit the bell icon. See you next time. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Simran, and on this episode of Hunger Pangs with Simran, I'm going to show you all how to make these really tasty and gorgeous chocolate sundae cupcakes. Now they're not just gorgeous to look at, but they're absolutely delicious and equally easy to bake. So let's get started. We need 130 grams of all-purpose flour, 30 grams of cocoa powder, 130 grams of castor sugar, half a teaspoon of baking soda, 130 grams of unsalted butter that's at room temperature, 2 tablespoons of vanilla essence, 2 large eggs, 4 tablespoons of instant coffee, and 45 ml of warm milk. I'm going to start by mixing the coffee and milk together. If you want, you can skip the coffee. I just personally feel it's a great way to enhance the flavor of cocoa powder, and it gives a more chocolatey result. Next, we need to sift all our dry ingredients together in a mixing bowl. By doing this, we are making them much lighter and airy, and this also helps them combine evenly amongst each other before they are mixed with other ingredients. So once our dry ingredients have been sifted, we need to add in the butter, eggs and vanilla. Whisk this into the batter until it's well incorporated, and then add in the milk. Give this a good mix and our batter is ready. Easy, right? It looks perfect. So I've lined my cupcake tin. This recipe makes exactly 12 cupcakes. I'm going to fill them up to about 2/3 of the way up, and I'm going to bake them for 20 minutes in my oven, which I preheated at 170 degrees Celsius. So while the cupcakes are in the oven, let's get started with the frosting. Here I have 150 grams of heavy whipping cream. Make sure it's really cold. I'm going to start by whipping this on low speed in my stand mixer. And then I'm going to gradually increase the speed as the cream starts whipping up. You could also use your hand mixer for this. Once I see the cream has reached medium peaks, I'll add in 4 teaspoons of castor sugar along with 1 tablespoon of vanilla essence. So we need to whip the cream until we get semi-stiff peaks, and that's when our cream is ready. So now I'm going to transfer the cream into a piping bag, and I'm using a star nozzle. The best hack to transfer anything into a piping bag without spilling it is to place the bag over a wide-mouthed glass. This helps things to be a lot tidier. Tighten the piping bag. Push the cream all the way down up till the nozzle and make sure that there are no air bubbles. For the chocolate sauce, I melted 25 grams of cooking chocolate in the microwave, and now I'll add in 1 tablespoon of cream in it and give them both a good mix. So my cupcakes are out of the oven and they look perfect. They have risen perfectly. I'm going to let them cool on a wired rack for 15 minutes and then let's crack one of them open. My cupcakes are on point. They're extremely fluffy, moist and soft. So let's move on to my favorite part, frosting the cupcakes. You need to start off from the center of the cupcakes, holding the piping bag half an inch away from the cake. Keep piping at an equal motion and use your other hand as a support. Once you reach the end of the swirl, just pull off the piping bag. Then I'm going to roughly drizzle the chocolate sauce over the cupcakes. Following that, I'm going to sprinkle the cupcakes with some chocolate chips and cashews. And in the end, I'm going to drizzle the remaining chocolate sauce all over the cupcakes. And our beautiful chocolate sundae cupcakes are ready. Okay everyone, that's it for today. Thank you for watching my video. If you like this recipe, don't forget to subscribe, like and share, and also hit the bell icon. See you next time. of Hunger Pangs with Simran. Guess what? Today I'm going to show you all how to make an exotic, or in fact as my mom calls it, a super exotic, most favorite of all non-vegetarians and the most mouth-watering golden fried prawns. Now these are extremely crunchy, juicy and full of flavors. Trust me guys, this dish is the star of the party. People are hardly going to believe you when you say that these are homemade. And for all of these fantastic reasons, I just knew that when I introduce a savory dish into my channel, I had to kickstart with these beauties. So let me walk you all through the ingredients to get you all started. You need 300 grams of white prawns, 75 grams of all-purpose flour, 30 grams of corn flour, a quarter of a teaspoon of ginger garlic paste, 1 egg, approximately 1 cup of chilled water, salt to taste, a pinch of sugar, and a quarter teaspoon of baking powder. So here I have 300 grams of fairly large prawns. These are approximately 20 pieces. I have cleaned them by deveining them on both the sides. I removed the heads, but I kept the tails on. So now I'm just going to put some gashes or slits on both sides of the prawns, and then I'm going to flatten them straight. I'm doing this for two reasons. Number one, when I dip the prawns in the batter, they'll get coated evenly. And number two, when I'm frying them in the oil, they won't curl up. Make sure your slits are not too deep because all we need are gentle gashes to keep the prawns straight. Now I'm going to transfer these into a bowl so I can marinate them, which is pretty simple and basic. All we need is a pinch of salt and the ginger garlic paste. Make sure that you rub this well into the prawns so that it absorbs and soaks in all that flavor. Once done, put this in the fridge for 30 minutes. So I have around 15 minutes left for the prawns to come out of the fridge. Meanwhile, let's get started with the batter. Start by mixing in all the dry ingredients together. By the way, if you like black pepper, you could also add that in. I'm just not a very big fan of it, so I have skipped it. Following this, I'm going to add in the egg and give it a mix. Moving on to the water, if you see, I'm not going to add in the full cup at once. This is because I don't want my batter to become lumpy, and also I'm not sure if my batter would need a full cup of water since the tendency of absorbing it differs from flour to flour. So I'm adding around 2 tablespoons of water at a time. This way I can keep a check on the batter, which needs to be of flowing consistency. So as you can see, my flour did not require the whole cup of water and I still have a little remaining. Okay, so now my prawns are out and I'm going to quickly check if my oil is ready or not. It looks absolutely ready. Make sure the oil is not too hot, otherwise it will burn the crust from the outside and the prawns inside will remain raw. So to fry the prawns, hold them by the tail, dip them nicely in the batter, make sure that you've coated them really well and then just leave them in the oil until they look nice and golden. Don't add in too many at a time, just around 5 or 6, otherwise the oil will become cold and the prawns won't come out crispy. So as you can see, the prawns look really nice. They're looking much larger than the original size. This is because of the slits I put in them and the way I flattened them out. Once they are well done, I'm going to take them out. Remember to drain out the oil nicely and then I'm going to put in the next batch. I've finished frying all the prawns and they look divine. I'm extremely happy with how they've turned out. In fact, let me show you how crispy they are. So my crispy fried prawns are ready. Friends, do let me know how you all liked my first savory recipe video. Do leave your comments in the comment section below. And if you like this recipe, you know what you have to do. Hit the like button, subscribe to my channel and share it with your friends. See you next time. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Simran and on this episode of Hunger Pangs with Simran, we are making some classic French spinach and corn au gratin. So let me walk you all through the ingredients to get you all started. So for the white sauce, I have 370 ml of milk, 1.5 tablespoons of all-purpose flour or maida, 1.5 tablespoons of butter, 70 grams of grated processed cheese, 70 grams of grated mozzarella cheese. To cook the spinach and corn, I have 1 large finely chopped onion, 1 tablespoon of finely chopped garlic, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, 200 grams of frozen sweet corn which I boiled in the microwave for 10 minutes, 300 grams of fresh finely chopped spinach, and for the seasoning I have some black pepper, red chili flakes, sugar and salt. So I'm going to start with my spinach and corn mixture. But before that, I have put my oven to preheat at 200 degrees Celsius. In my pan, I'm going to add in the olive oil. And now I'm adding in the garlic. We need to cook the garlic till the raw smell goes. And then add in the onions. To cook the onions faster, we always need to add in some salt. Make sure that you don't overcook your onions. We don't want them to become brown. All we need is a slight pinkish color on them. So as you can see, my onions have just become a little pink. I've cooked them for around a minute and a half. And now I'm going to add in the spinach. So make sure that you wash your spinach very nicely. I washed mine in running water at least 7 to 8 times. We need to cook this for 5 to 7 minutes till it dries up all the water that it has released. So now that it's nearly done, not fully done, I'm adding in the corn. As you can see now, all the water has dried up and I'm going to add in the seasonings. And now I'm going to mix the white sauce to this. So I'm going to begin with making the white sauce. In my pan, I'm going to add in the butter. Along with this, I'm adding in the flour. We need to cook them together until they are well roasted and they have a slight light brown color on them. So as you can see, The flour has become lightly browned, and now I'm going to switch off the heat, and slowly, using a small ladle, you could also use a spoon, I'm going to add in the milk little at a time and then mix it. Keep adding in milk until you get a smooth paste. This is a great tip for people whose white sauce becomes lumpy easily, because this way the chances of lumps getting formed is almost gone. As you can see, I'm getting a smooth paste now. There are no lumps and it's much easier. So this is a very good hack to making the perfect white sauce. You will never get lumps this way. Since now I have a smooth paste, I'm going to add in all the remaining milk at once. And now I'll also switch on the heat. Make sure you don't stop whisking once you switch on the heat, because there are chances that this might get burnt from the bottom. So my sauce is halfway done now, and it's time to add in half of the processed cheese. Actually, I'm going to add in a little more than half. And now I'll add in little salt, black pepper and sugar. So to avoid lumps, it's really important to constantly mix this. But in case your sauce becomes lumpy, there is no need to panic. You can simply strain it through a sieve or a strainer and it's good to go. Okay, so this white sauce has come out to be smooth, creamy and perfect. So our white sauce is ready, and so is the corn and spinach mixture. Now I'm going to slowly add in the sauce into my spinach pan. Oh my god, this looks yummy. So I'm going to save some of the sauce for later. Give this a good mix, because as we mix this, the corn and spinach will soak in the milk and cheese, and that's going to make this even more flavorful. Okay, so I'm just going to taste this to check on the salt. Looks good. It's perfect. The salt and seasoning is perfect. I don't think I need to add in anything more to it. Now I'm going to transfer it into my baking dish. So now I'm going to simply sprinkle half of the mozzarella cheese on top of this. And half of the processed cheese. Don't use up all the cheese at once, because we need them for another layer. And then pour in the remaining sauce which we had left aside. Spread this nicely on all corners. And lastly, I'm going to sprinkle all the remaining cheese on this. The secret ingredient is always cheese. There's no doubt about that, you guys. So our spinach and corn au gratin is ready to be baked at 200 degrees Celsius for 8 to 10 minutes. So my au gratin is out and it looks gorgeous. I cannot wait to dig into it. I set it to bake for 8 to 10 minutes, but it took me a couple of minutes longer, and that's how I got this beautiful golden tinge on the crust. So I'm going to cut into it. Wow, that's the mozzarella doing its work. Lovely. I love this on a slice of fresh home baked bread, but it also goes well with some boiled rice, and as a matter of fact, it even goes really well with some rotis or chapatis. Okay friends, that's it for today. I'm off to giving myself a treat with this freshly baked au gratin on my freshly baked bread. If you all like this recipe, don't forget to subscribe, like and share, and also hit the bell icon. See you next time. Hi guys, welcome back to this episode of Hunger Pangs with Simran. Today we are making chicken curry. Now I feel that this is one dish that is so personal to us since we all have a different take on it with the flavors of our homes. And so the recipe that I bring to you today is what I have grown up having. I can easily call it my comfort food. It's really easy to make, even for those of you who are trying out a chicken curry recipe for the first time. So let me walk you all through the ingredients to get you all started. Okay, so today we are cooking with 750 grams of chicken. These are the leg and thigh pieces. With that, we need 3 finely chopped medium-sized tomatoes, 3 finely chopped large-size onions, some ginger garlic paste, some kasuri methi, some coriander or dhania powder, red chili powder, turmeric powder, garam masala powder, some oil, ghee, and of course some salt. तो सबसे पहले we need to put slits on the chicken pieces. इस तरह हमें slanting lines लगा देनी है. ये करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. इससे आपका चिकन का मसाला बिल्कुल अंदर तक जाता है. चिकन अच्छे से अंदर तक कुक हो जाता है. And the chicken will be soft and juicy. So the chicken is ready and now we need to start marinating them. तो सबसे पहले I'm going to put ginger garlic paste. 1 छोटा चम्मच भर के, हल्दी पाउडर, लाल मिर्च पाउडर, ज़रा सा धनिया पाउडर, नमक, and I will rub these nicely into the chicken. तो ये देखिए चिकन के हर एक पीस में अच्छे से मसाला लग गया है. And now I'll just leave this in the fridge for 30 minutes. तो आधा घंटा हो गया है and the chicken is out. अब चलिए इसे पकाते हैं. मैं प्रेशर कुकर में बनाने वाली हूँ चिकन को. इसमें मैं सबसे पहले डालूँगी 2 tablespoons of ghee. And then to this I'll add 1 teaspoon of oil. So first of all I'm going to add these whole garam masalas. I forgot to show this in the beginning, but it's never too late. इसमें है 1.5 इंच की करीब दालचीनी, स्टार अनीस, 1 बड़ी इलायची, 4 छोटे इलायची और लौंग. So once this starts crackling up, I'm going to add in the onions. These onions are really finely chopped. They have to be cooked really well until they are dark golden brown in color. So because the onions are so finely chopped, it's going to give us a really thick and nice gravy. हमें इसे बहुत अच्छे से लाल करना है, पूरा पका लेना है जब तक ये अच्छे से ब्राउन हो जाए. अब ताकि ये जल्दी से कुक हो जाए, मैं इसमें थोड़ा नमक डालती हूँ, बस इतना सा. This helps the onions cook faster. ये प्याज ब्राउन होने में टाइम तो लगाएगा, लेकिन जितना अच्छे से हम इसे लाल करेंगे उतना ही इसका टेस्ट भी आएगा। So now it's almost done, nearly 70%. और अब मैं इसमें 1 टीस्पून जिंजर गार्लिक का पेस्ट डाल दूंगी। Now I will cook this for another 5 minutes. तो 5 मिनट हो गए हैं और अब मैं इसमें थोड़ा सा पानी डाल दूंगी ताकि ये अच्छे से कुक हो जाए और नीचे भी ना लगे। So दोस्तों, I have cooked this on low to medium heat for around 10 minutes and now this is nicely browned, and to this I'll add in the tomatoes. You can see the tomatoes are also very finely chopped. This will also help us to get a very smooth gravy. तो इन टमाटर को हमें 6 से 7 मिनट तक लो टू मीडियम हीट में पकाना है, जब तक कि ये बिल्कुल ही गल जाए। अभी 3 से 4 मिनट ही हुए हैं और मैं इसमें अब हल्दी डाल दे रही हूँ। हल्दी पहले डाल रही हूँ ताकि हल्दी को पकने का टाइम मिल जाए। अब देखिए मेरा मसाला थोड़ा सा नीचे लग रहा है, तो मैं इसमें थोड़ा सा पानी और डाल दूँगी। So it's been 5 to 6 minutes and the tomatoes are very well cooked now. To this I'll add in the red chili powder. मैं यहाँ कश्मीरी रेड चिली पाउडर यूज़ कर रही हूँ, इससे कलर बहुत अच्छा आता है। और साथ में हम एडिंग 2 चम्मच धनिया पाउडर। इससे अच्छे से मिक्स कर लीजिएगा। और अब इस प्याज और टमाटर के मिक्सचर को स्मूथ करने के लिए मैं इसमें थोड़ा सा पानी डाल के इसे ढक दूंगी। तो चलिए ये बिल्कुल हो गया है। The tomatoes and onions are cooked very well. They are soft. And now I'll add in the chicken pieces to this. And now इस चिकन को मैं लो हीट में 5 से 6 मिनट के लिए भून लूँगी। देखिए 5 मिनट हो गए हैं, ये चिकन भी अच्छे से भुन गए हैं। अब मैं इस मैरिनेशन वाले बोल में ही करीबन 1 कप पानी डाल के इसको अच्छे से मिक्स करके इसे इसमें डाल दूँगी। साथ में मैं आधा चम्मच नमक भी डाल दे रही हूँ और आधा चम्मच गरम मसाला पाउडर भी। और अब हम इसे अच्छे से मिक्स करके इस पे कुकर का ढक्कन लगा देंगे। तो अब हमें इसे लो हीट पे 2 सीटी आने तक पकाना है। एंड आफ्टर दैट, जब तक इसका स्टीम ना निकल जाए, इसको खोलना नहीं है। तो अब 2 सीटी हो गए हैं और स्टीम भी निकल चुका है। अब चलिए इसे खोल के देखते हैं कि ये अंदर से कैसा बना है। वाओ, इट लुक्स ग्रेट। अब मैं इसमें करीबन आधा चम्मच घी डाल लूँगी, इससे बहुत अच्छी खुशबू आ जाएगी। और साथ ही साथ हाफ टीस्पून कसूरी मेथी, जिसको मैंने लाल करके क्रश कर लिया था। एंड नाउ इट्स रेडी फॉर प्लेटिंग। So guys, this chicken curry goes really well with just anything, be it rice, chapatis, naan or parathas. As I told you, this is my comfort food and I can have it with just anything, and it's somehow, I don't know how, just tastes yummier every time. And I hope you all like it just as much. Okay guys, that's it for today. Thank you for watching my video. If you liked my recipe, don't forget to subscribe, like and share, and also hit the bell icon. See you next time. Hi guys, welcome back to Quick Watch on Hunger Pangs with Simran. Today I'm going to show you all how to make some really tasty suji ka halwa along with some quick tips. So let's begin. So step number 1, in a pan add in 1 teaspoon of ghee, and to that add in some broken almonds, raisins and broken cashews. Usually people don't fry raisins in ghee, but I feel it gives a lovely flavor. And by the way, this is half a cup altogether. So this is done. It took me 1.5 to 2 minutes to brown them, and now I'll just remove them in a bowl and leave the bowl aside. Next, in the same pan, add in half a cup of suji. Roast this slightly on low to medium heat. Now again, everybody has a different take on this halwa. This is how I have seen my mom make it, and it turns out amazing. It's just beyond words. It should become light brown in color. I'm using raw suji, but if you have roasted suji at home, you can just move on to the next step. And then add in half a cup, that's the equal amount of ghee as suji. This wonderful smell of suji and ghee roasting together is just heavenly. I have grown up with the smell coming out of the kitchen at my place, and it just means festivity. It means pujas are here. And you've got to admit, guys, this is the go-to sweet dish for all our moms at all our homes. So this is done. It's well roasted and lightly browned. Now we need to add in 1.5 cups of boiling hot water to this. Again, this is a very helpful hack to avoid any lumps in the halwa. This makes it really smooth and silky. Keep mixing it with your other hand. This is gonna splutter a lot, but don't give up. It's all fine. Motivate yourself because the final product is totally worth it, you guys. The size of my measuring cup is of half a cup, so I'm gonna add water thrice, and that makes it 1.5 cups. Keep mixing it and then cover it and let it boil on low to medium heat till the water reduces to half before adding in the sugar. Okay, so now that's done. The water has reduced exactly to half, and now I'm going to add in half a cup of granulated sugar to this. Mix it and cover it for 5 minutes. Basically, the secret to make the world's best suji halwa is to add the same amount of ghee, suji and sugar. That's 1:1:1 and 3 portions of water. So this is ready. As I said earlier, this smells heavenly. I just cannot control myself right now. I have added in the dry fruits. We just need to mix it and then it's ready to serve. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Hunger Pangs with Simran. Today I'm really excited because I'm bringing to you my magical eggless cupcake batter recipe. So I call this a magical batter because from the same batter I'm going to make vanilla as well as chocolate cupcakes. And these are super moist, delicious and spongy, and you can make them at the twitch of your finger. So let's get started. So you're gonna need half a cup of unsalted butter, 2/3 of a cup of condensed milk, 1 tablespoon of vanilla essence, 100 ml of milk, 1 cup of all-purpose flour or maida, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. If you're making chocolate cupcakes, you're also gonna need 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder along with 2 tablespoons of caster sugar. मैंने ग्राम्स में भी सारे measurements नीचे description box में दे दिए हैं. And I have set my oven to preheat at 170 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes. And this recipe makes exactly 12 cupcakes. So I've made my cupcake tins ready with 12 cupcake liners. And now let's start. In a large mixing bowl, हमें डाल लेना है ये unsalted butter. This should be at room temperature. साथ में condensed milk and vanilla essence. And then using a stand mixer, hand mixer or a whisk, we just beat it. जब तक कि ये fluffy और light हो जाए, this should take you around 1 minute. Keep cleaning your bowl with a spatula so that everything comes together and is beaten well.
और देखिए ये कितने अच्छे से फ्लफ़ी हो रहा है. The color is also getting pale. That's because the condensed milk and butter are emulsifying together. Next, we need to sieve in the maida, baking powder, baking soda and salt. So if you're making vanilla cupcakes, you have to add in the cocoa powder and caster sugar right now along with the other dry ingredients. I'm just kidding, you don't need cocoa powder for vanilla cupcakes. But however, we are making both the cupcakes in this video, and for that I'm going to leave the cocoa powder out because I'm going to start with vanilla cupcakes. And I'm going to add in some milk. I'm adding in little by little, otherwise the whole thing will splash on my face when I try to beat it. Keep adding in milk in batches, but not the whole thing. We need to leave some for after we add in the cocoa powder. तो इसमें आप दूध डालते जाएंगे, बोल के एजेस को एक स्क्रैपर से क्लीन करते रहिएगा and keep beating it until you get a dropping consistency of the batter. So as I told you, this batter makes exactly 12 cupcakes, and today we are making chocolate and vanilla cupcakes both. So I'm going to make them with this same particular batter, and I'm going to divide this. I'll make 6 vanilla cupcakes and 6 chocolate cupcakes from this. तो चलिए ये वनीला कपकेक का बैटर रेडी हो गया है. इसकी कंसिस्टेंसी देख लीजिए, इट्स जस्ट परफेक्ट, नॉट टू थिक नॉट टू थिन. और अब इन्हें कपकेक टिन्स में डाल लेते हैं. I'm just going to add in 1 tablespoon of this batter in the mold. But if I feel that some molds have lesser batter than the other, then I'm just going to add in a little more. And that's it. So I'm going to fill 6 of these with the vanilla batter and leave the tin aside. And once the chocolate batter gets ready, I'll fill the other 6 molds with that and then bake all of them together at once. So let's start with the chocolate batter. On top of the remaining vanilla batter, we will just sift in the cocoa powder and caster sugar. इन्हें सिफ्ट करना बहुत ज़रूरी है because we are not using any eggs, and sifting the dry ingredients makes the batter much lighter and the cupcakes much softer. बोल के एजेस को एक स्क्रैपर से क्लीन करते रहिएगा and then add in the milk slowly in turns as I said earlier. Mix everything together until the cocoa powder and sugar are well incorporated into the batter. And that's it, our batter is ready. Look at how smooth it is. It's a little more flowy than the vanilla batter, but that's okay because this has cocoa powder. If you don't make it a little extra flowy than the vanilla one, it will be too dense, especially because there are no eggs and there is condensed milk in this. And even this is absolutely ready to go into the oven. We bake them for 20 minutes at 170 degrees Celsius. So these are absolutely ready, and see how good they look. The vanilla cupcakes have a perfect golden tinge to them, and the chocolate ones look perfect. They don't have an extra dark brown color on them. You can also make these delicious cupcakes in your microwave convection. Just follow the same steps as this recipe, same baking and same preheating temperature, and you're good to go. So guys, I have previously made a chocolate sundae cupcake recipe, but those aren't eggless cupcakes. So if you're looking to make cupcakes with egg, you can have a look at that video. Or you can make those same chocolate sundae cupcakes with these eggless cupcakes. They taste equally good. Okay guys, that's it for today. I hope you all like this recipe. Stay tuned to see what I do with these cupcakes in my Halloween special upcoming video. So see you next time.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Hunger Pangs with Simran, and today I'm going to show you all how to make apple pie puffs. Today I'll be showing you all how to make 3 variations to it, how to bake it, how to deep fry it, and how to shallow fry it. So let's get started.
So to make this delicious apple puff dough, we need 125 grams of atta or whole wheat flour, 125 grams of maida or all-purpose flour. Using atta and maida both makes this dough healthier, but if you wish, you could just use maida, some sugar, some baking powder, salt, chilled water and vegetable oil. And then to make the yummiest apple pie filling, we need 2 gala apples, some cinnamon powder, some nutmeg powder, 30 grams of butter, 6 tablespoons of brown sugar, some apple cider vinegar, or if you don't have this, you could use the juice of half a lemon, and some salt. So let's start with the apples. I'm coring them so that all the seeds get removed at once. लेकिन हम जैसे normally apples को cut करते हैं उनके बीज निकालने के लिए, आप वैसे भी कर सकते हैं. The ultimate goal is to remove all the seeds, that's it. And now we need to cut them into small pieces. Make sure कि ये बहुत छोटे ही cut हो, वरना filling के time आपका puff का जो dough है वो फट सकता है. And also I have not peeled them because this way they are more crispy and juicier also. So try and avoid peeling them and see how small I've cut them. Try cutting them that small. तो चलिए अब फिलिंग बनाना स्टार्ट करते हैं. आप मानेंगे नहीं ये कितना ईजी है. I'm just gonna put everything together in the pan, cover it and just let it cook. So I've already added the apples in the pan and now I'll add in cinnamon powder. I'm putting in 1 tablespoon full because this will give an amazing aroma and I really like that. And then I'll add in 30 grams of butter, 6 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. This will prevent the sugar from crystallizing. But as I said earlier, if you don't have this, you could also use the juice of half a lemon. And then at last, हम add कर लेंगे a pinch of nutmeg powder. This is optional, but I would always suggest you to add this because I feel it gives a really nice kick to this filling. तो अब आप देख सकते हैं ये थोड़ा liquidy होना शुरू हो गया है. That's because the brown sugar has started melting. So इसलिए अब हम इसे ढक लेंगे और low to medium heat पे पका लेंगे जब तक कि ये apples थोड़े semi soft हो जाए और ये filling भी liquidy से dry हो जाए. तो जब तक एप्पल पाई की फिलिंग हम ढककर बना रहे हैं एक साइड पे, लेट्स स्टार्ट वर्किंग ऑन द डो ऑल्सो. मेकिंग दिस इज़ ऑल्सो extremely easy. In this atta and maida bowl, we'll add in half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of sugar and half a teaspoon of baking powder. And then in the end, we'll add in 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Just mix them roughly to bring everything together and then start adding in the water. Make sure it's chilled water. And guys, don't add in all the water at once because at this stage we don't know how much water the dough would finally require and we don't want it to become all runny and sticky by adding in a lot of water. So keep adding in little by little. All we need is the dough to come together. It should be slightly tight but not over kneaded. So this is done. देखिए how it looks. It's tight yet smooth. पानी भी मैंने पूरा कप नहीं यूज़ किया है, just as much as the dough needed. And then just cling wrap it and pop it into your fridge. Meanwhile, the apple filling will also be ready. Okay guys, now this apple filling is done. Have a look at it. It's dried up, but it's still moist and juicy, and that's what we need. Now I'm adding in some raisins. This is also optional. You could add in walnuts, raisins, whatever you like, or skip both out. तो मैंने इसे टेस्ट किया है. ये बहुत ज़्यादा टेस्टी है. But I feel I can add in a bit more of cinnamon powder just to increase the aroma. And then I'll just mix it and leave it aside to cool down. So now the dough is also ready. And now let's start making the final apple pie puff. तो सबसे पहले मैं इसे divide कर रही हूँ 2 pieces में. That way it will be easier to roll it. Otherwise it will be a lot at once. And then I will sprinkle some all-purpose flour on the surface and I will roll this out. Try rolling out a rectangular shape out of it. So I'm also using a scraper in between just to maintain a rectangular shape. लेकिन अगर आपके पास ये नहीं है, that's not a problem at all. You could just use your rolling pin or बेलन. This is done. आप देख सकते हैं it's not too thick nor too thin. It's around 2 millimeters thick. And now I'll just cut off the excess untidy sides just to get a neat border and a proper rectangular shape. और फिर हम ये डो को वेस्ट नहीं करेंगे, just mix it with the other half and use it in the next round. And then we need to cut out strips for the puffs. These are 8 inches long and 1 inch broad. You could use a measurement of your preference for this, however you want your pocket puffs to look. Okay, now let's start filling these. Add in 2 teaspoons of this apple filling on one side of the strip. Spread it gently and make sure to leave at least half a centimeter gap on each side, because then we need to spread some water on the sides and seal the puff. So just fold it this way and then first seal it using your fingers and later using a fork. Don't forget to use some water to seal this, because you don't want it to open up while frying or while baking. As you keep filling them and keeping them aside, make sure to place them on a flour dusted surface so that they don't stick to wherever you're keeping them. So now let's start making these beauties. We're making them 3 ways. So I've set the oven to preheat at 180 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, I have also heated up the oil. So let's start by frying them. तेल ज़्यादा गरम नहीं है. Keep it on medium heat. And we need to fry them until they get a nice crunchy golden crust on the outside. तो चलिए ये अच्छे से हो गए हैं and they look divine you guys, and they're gonna taste so yummy. चलिए now let's go on to the next option. Let's bake them. I have brushed the oven tray with some butter and placed the puffs on them. Now I'll just brush the puffs with some milk. This is just normal plain milk. This will help the puffs get a nice color on them. And then off these go into the oven at 180 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes until they have a nice golden color on them. Now let's move on to the third option. That's shallow frying them, or I would rather call it pan frying them. I have added 2 teaspoons of oil in the pan. And now I'll place the puffs on this. Make sure to keep the heat on low so that the crust of the puff is cooked thoroughly. Flip them, but not too many times, and we just need to let them cook till they get browned. तो ये हो गए हैं and they look great. These are such great alternatives for those of us who do not have an oven at home, or even for those of us who do not want to deep fry our apple puffs. It's delicious. Thank you for watching my video guys. That's it for today. Do try them out and do let me know in the comment section below which one of these is your favorite variant. And if you liked my recipe, don't forget to subscribe, like and share, and also hit the bell icon. See you next time. Hi guys, welcome to Hunger Pangs with Simran. First of all, wish you all a very happy Diwali. I hope you all have a great and prosperous Diwali. And now, thank you so much for 1K subscribers. It means a lot to me. I know it's a small milestone, but it is a milestone and it's the best Diwali gift for me ever. So thank you so much. So today I'm here to share with you a family traditional recipe of these moong dal kachoris. So the recipe of these kachoris are very special to me. They are passed on from my nani to my mom and then to me. And so today I'm here to share it with all of you and I'm so excited about it. I hope you all enjoy it and love it. And this is a foolproof recipe, so do make it if you want to be a superstar this Diwali. So let's get started. So for the kachori dough, we need some maida or all-purpose flour. I'm using 200 grams of it, some vegetable oil, some water, enough to knead the dough, salt, some kalonji, also known as onion seeds, and we also need some oil to later fry the kachoris in. Let's start by kneading the dough. We have to add half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of kalonji or onion seeds in the maida bowl. Mix it just so that it's well combined. And then I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil in this and mix it until it turns into a sand-like mixture. So the reason behind adding enough amount of oil in this is that it will make the kachori dough flaky or khasta, and that's a very important part of making the most perfect kachori. And the best way to check if your kachori dough has enough amount of oil is that when you press it this way, it should not scatter and break off, which is happening to my kachori dough. And so I'm going to add in 1 more tablespoon of oil in this. And now you see when I press it, it's not breaking, it's being able to hold itself together, and that's what we need. Now it's time to add in water and knead this. Don't add in a lot of water at once. So friends, we need this dough to be very soft, and so it will also be a little sticky, but that's how we need it to be, that's how it's supposed to be. But at the same time, we don't want it to be like a pie crust dough, we want it to be well kneaded like atta. So now we just need to take some oil and apply it on the surface and knead the dough further. If you have a stand mixer or a dough mixer, it will take you just 4 to 5 minutes to make this dough. But if you're doing it by hand, it will take you 10 to 12 minutes to knead it well. So this is done. It took me like 10-12 minutes, as I said. And you can see how soft and smooth this is. It's really very soft. It almost sticks to your palms. So I'm just going to cover it with a wet towel and leave it to rest. Now let's start making the heart of this kachori, that is this delicious moong dal mixture. So here I have 200 grams of moong dal, which I soaked for 3 hours, and then I strained out all the water and left the dal inside the strainer or channi so that all the water comes out nicely. We also need besan or gram flour. I have taken 125 grams of it, salt, vegetable oil, red chili powder, chaat masala powder, some sugar, some hing powder, haldi powder. We also need some sauf powder. I made this at home just by grinding 50 grams of sauf in the mixie, and some ginger garlic paste. So in a pan, we're going to add in around 2.5 to 3 tablespoons of oil. And in that, we'll add in half a teaspoon of ginger garlic paste. Now guys, we are making kachoris and this is going to have a good amount of oil in it. It's not a lot, but it's not too less either. So please be generous with it. We need to saute this ginger garlic paste in the oil until it becomes a little brownish, and then we'll add in 1/4 teaspoon of haldi powder or turmeric powder to this. Mix it for a second and then add in all the moong dal. So we need to fry this dal in the oil for a few minutes until the moisture has completely dried up. These kachoris are not just delicious to taste and easy to make, but they are also very long lasting. In fact, my dad is a pure vegetarian and he used to face a lot of problems with food when he used to travel abroad earlier. So from the last many years, my mom prepares and packs these kachoris for him along with some other goodies. And these just last him for a good 2.5 to 3 weeks and they remain as fresh and crunchy as ever. So as you can see, the moisture in this has dried up completely, and now I'm just going to transfer this on a plate and leave it aside. And then in a separate pan, we need to add in 2 tablespoons of oil along with half a teaspoon of haldi powder, half a teaspoon of red chili powder and half a teaspoon of salt. And then we need to add in all the besan in this and just roast it. This should take you around 3 to 4 minutes. It should become light brown in color. So friends, this is a very easy and a very simple recipe, and it's a sure short recipe. You cannot go wrong with it. You just cannot go wrong with it. If you go by these same measurements, you're gonna end up making some really very tasty kachoris. And these kachoris are nothing like the market wale masaledar mirchi wale kachoris. These have a very strong homemade touch to them, and that's what makes them even more delicious and special. Okay, so this is done. It took me 10 minutes. Now it's brown, like light brown in color. And now in this we can add in the moong dal which we had cooked and kept aside earlier. We need to mix this well and add in half a teaspoon more of salt along with 1.5 teaspoons of red chili powder, 1.5 teaspoons of chaat masala powder. This is very important, it really enhances the flavor of this mixture a lot, along with a pinch of sugar. Let this cook on medium heat for 3 to 4 minutes. And then we need to add in 2.5 tablespoons, not teaspoons but tablespoons of soft powder or fennel powder. This is very important and it contributes a lot towards the taste of this mixture. Okay, now next, another very important ingredient. We need to now add in hing powder, also known as asafoetida powder. But we're not going to add this directly into the dal. We're going to first make a paste out of it with some water. So here in a bowl, I've taken 1.5 teaspoons of hing powder, and in this I'm going to add in 3 tablespoons of water. We need to mix this very well, and then we are going to just pour it on top of the mixture. I have used 200 grams of moong dal because I want to make some extra mixture and store it in my fridge, but you could use as much as you want. Give it a good mix and then don't forget to taste it, because I tasted it and then I realized that I needed to add some more hing powder and soft powder. So here I've taken 1 teaspoon of hing along with 2 tablespoons of water. I'm going to make a paste out of it and pour it on top of the mixture. And I'm also going to add in half a teaspoon more of soft powder. Then just mix this and let this cook for 5 minutes on medium heat, and then we are good to go on to the next step. Okay guys, so the dough is made, it has rested, the mixture is also made and it has cooled down. Now let's move on to the most fun part of this, that is filling these kachoris. It's a lot of fun to do that, I don't know why, but yeah, I have a lot of fun doing it. So we just need to fold the dough like this, sort of make a roll out of it and then elongate it this way. And then we need to cut them out into equal sized dough. These are around 20 to 22 grams and this is what we're going to make the final kachori with. So I've got 14 of these dough balls and we need to make them smooth. So just press them this way and flatten them out first and then bring all the sides together. Then just roll it or pull it towards yourself, and this will help your dough become round and smooth. So you can use some oil to work with this dough. As you can see, it's really sticky and soft, but this is how it's supposed to be. We need it to be this way. So you could use some oil or some dry flour to work with it. Now let's start filling these with the dal mixture, and I've also switched on the heat so that the oil starts getting hot. So here's a quick tip. The perfect hack to fill the most perfect kachori is to flatten out the dough ball from the sides only and keep the center thick, not too thick. You can dab it once or twice, but overall it's supposed to be much thicker compared to the sides. Now let's add in the mixture. We need to place 1 teaspoon of it in the center of the dough and then bring the sides of the dough together towards the center and then pinch it and seal it. So friends, as I told you all earlier, this is purely my Nani's recipe passed on to my mom and then to me. There is no market wala or bazaar wala touch to it. It has a very homemade flavor. It is delicious. It's just out of this world. It's a tradition to make it at home every Diwali and even every time that my dad is traveling. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it because today I'm bringing it to you guys and I'm pretty excited about it. Now I'm flattening out these kachoris before frying them. As I said earlier, we need to keep the sides thin and the center thick. Just dab it 2-3 times and that should be enough. Now I have started frying these, but as you can see, The oil is not very hot. It's lower than the normal frying temperature of the oil. I have kept the heat on low, and this is how we need to do this. Frying it this way is what will help the kachoris puff up very nicely. We will be frying these for a good 10 to 15 minutes on low heat until they become golden in color. They look so beautiful, right? So once they start puffing up this way, we need to increase the heat from medium low to medium high and then fry them further. Okay guys, so these are done frying. They have puffed up so nicely. They are double in size now and they are so crunchy. These are the most perfect homemade kachoris ever. Okay guys, that's it for today. The smell in my kitchen right now is very comforting. It's giving me all the Diwali vibes in the world. I would always prefer these kachoris over any other kachoris from anywhere else because they are just so delicious. And I hope that you guys try them out too. So thank you for watching and see you next time.